Have some baby lip balm, or we're going to have a bad day. Oh, good morning, Groovers. How's all y'all? Oh, thank God, I've got lip balm. I was going to have to run back up in the house. Can't do a day without lip balm. I love that shit. Um, alrighty. So, climb aboard. This week Airlines flight 706, just because it's 7:06 a.m. Pleasant 9 degrees Celsius. Bit of blue sky, bit of cloud. Got a bit of everything. Bit of rain. Bit of beanie action. Oh, he's got a Bonarong top on. Good lad. I hope you brought your own drinks and snacks. You do not get anything like that on Piswick Airlines. You don't even get a seatbelt. So, your life is well and truly in your own hands. Today is my Christmas celebration, and as I was getting ready for it, I decided that, as always, minimum effort, maximum gain. I'd just go with something red. So I've got my rusty red corduroy pinny on that I love. It's like wearing a nightie. And I do have a necklace that an ex gave me years ago with a pendant of cherries on it. And the cherry pendant's absolutely beautiful. But I've tried to wear it in other parts of the year just because I love it. And my sister's allergic to cherries, so it's sort of in joke as well. I'm trying to kill her. And people berate me for wearing cherries in other parts of the year because here in Tasmania, cherries and Christmas go hand in hand. Cherries here, but apparently no cherry necklace unless it's Christmas time. So I've dusted the little bugger off and I'm wearing it. My God, I'm wearing it. But that's the extent of my festivities. Last year I wore a little headbandy thing that had white and gold leaves and little belly things on it, and that was way too festive for me. But everyone else loved it and took it off me. It was my gift to their needs to be festive. But I'm going to be hanging out with a heap of middle-aged women with flashing earrings and reindeer horns, and I don't want to be bar humbug about it, but it's kind of awkward. It's like it's the middle of going to a hen's night and hanging out with a heap of women with headbands with little penises on them, or little necklaces with penis whistles on them. Do you know what I'm saying? So this drive therapy is all about, I mean, I'm festive internally. I feel it internally. I just don't feel like I need to tart myself up like some cheap-ass Christmas tree with flashing lights for people to get that that Yule is cool. I feel that Yule is cool. I get the sentiment of it. I don't get the pressure of it, though. Gather with friends and family, eat some lovely food, drink some even better wine, and be grateful and thankful for those you love and those who love you. We don't need this crazy, frenzied shopping and buying out every business of every turkey and lettuce leaf imaginable. Like, it doesn't have to be a grand production. I get it if you've got kids. Yeah, go for it if you want to make it special. My mum was very good at doing that for us. But after she died, Christmas became a bit of a beige event for us. I've had a couple of family Christmases at my place since I built my place. I've had three, actually, big ones, and I've loved it. My house is very well designed for entertaining. But I've also had a lovely Christmas day just with my sister. And this year, my whole family, we're doing Christmas in January in Singapore because, that's just what we're going to do. um, so on actual Christmas Day, I'm literally just going to have some lunch with a really good friend. And then, who bizarrely is in traffic ahead of me, but I'm not going to point out which car. And yeah, we're just going to have lunch, and then we've got Christmas Day afternoon. If it's a nice day to call some friends, just chill. And then my sister and her family have a huge Boxing Day that I'll go to, and that'll be that'll house it is Soho in white on it. I think that's appropriate. And I've got a little macrame Christmas tree that I hang on the wall. Done. Decorations sorted. If I was having people over for lunch, I would go a bit nuts with the decorations. I don't mind festive trimmings. I learned how to decorate for holidays by living in America because you guys decorate like no other. But minimalism is my jam this year. Clearly, nobody festive. Maybe I should have done my live on Smooth Criminal podcast. That's getting a bit of traffic at the moment. It's kind of freaking me out a bit, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I'm pleased, but... And, it was a very rushed job, the little video that seems to be ticking boxes for people, but it was a rush job. I know it was pretty average. Some of the comments have pointed that out, and I'm fine with that. But for the most part, people have been really lovely. I mean, there's someone else yelling at me, though, saying it was jackass. There's all this information, bang, 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 and I'm like, yep, and until any of that's verified, I'm not going down that road. We care about facts on my channel. But I did encourage her to come back, but she was quite snarky. She told me to look in my rearview mirror and wake up and smell the roses or something like that. Which, as far as insults go, it's pretty mild. But I like different points of view, and I like people responding. It really doesn't bother me if they're positive or negative. It's just nice to have some connecting going on, Unlike now, where it's just me talking to myself for 10 minutes. I think this channel is well and truly in a ditch. All the things it should be doing, it's not. Like my little Space Criminal channel, I've done some pretty consistent stuff on there for the last week, I guess. And it's on the move. It's doing what this channel did when I started this channel. Like, it's evolving. People are rocking up to things that I do on there. This channel, in a ditch, really. Some sort of laneway that doesn't, I don't know, hit the spot on YouTube, ain't in the algorithm, and it's a frustrating situation. But maybe the signs are there that, I put my energy and efforts into Smooth Criminal, and this one can still sponsor little animals like we do, and I can still use it as a little vlog, but I can't get it out of that ditch. I was curious to see, and we're almost at the nearby town. I normally have at least one person to chat with, but that's all right. I'm happy to put more energy and time into Smooth Criminal and the Shitty Kitty Kitchen. They're niche channels on topics that I'm passionate about, and this one will just be a sort of, I don't know, I'll just keep sponsoring animals and show them to you and then go back to the other channels, I guess. Oh, it's weird. It's disappointing. It's 4 years of work, you know. But I guess in that 4 years, I've learned not what to do, because whatever we've done on this channel has been dropped, ever been sidelined. Lotus Flower, hello. I am live. Thanks for saying hello. I've been talking to myself for 10 minutes, 11 and a half minutes. So I appreciate you making the effort to say good day. Thank you. I don't feel so ronery now. So I've got my Christmas work lunch today. I mean, I've got work this morning, and then we all kick off for a Christmas lunch with Secret Santa, and I've managed to be festive by putting on a little red corduroy pinafore and a necklace that has a cherry pendant on it that I absolutely love. But I've tried to wear the cherry pendant in other times of the year. Cherries are a very Tassie Christmas thing. We grow a lot of cherries here over summer. But yeah, I wore my cherry necklace once, God forbid, I don't know, in June, and was berated for doing so. Apparently cherries and Christmas go hand in hand, and God forbid you wear a cherry necklace in other parts of the year. So yeah, I was just heading into work and trying to get festive. But the reality is I'm going to be, you know, hanging out with a heap of middle-aged women with flashy Christmas tree earrings, and some of them even have dresses with Christmassy patterns on them. Oh, you think it sounds cute? What, the cherry necklace? Yeah, the cherry necklace is very cute. But I have had people point out that why are you wearing that necklace? It's not Christmas time. And I was like, oh, it didn't come with rules when I was given it by my ex. Hey, Scout. Sonny's at home pouting. I got the "you're leaving me" look, and I was like, yeah, I am, and sadly I'm leaving you for a long time today, because after work, and well, after the Christmas lunch, I'm then going to see Alex Lloyd, who is an Australian singer, with my friend Laura, and I won't be home till late, and Sunny's not going to have any dinner on her plate at 5 p.m. It depends on the Christmas lunch. I might leave it and head home, change what I'm wearing, and feed Sunny, hang out with her for an hour or so, and then head off again. That may be what I do. It depends on how good this lunch is. Yeah, my frock's red. I've made an effort. Oh, the necklace is red. Can't believe someone was upset that I was wearing a cherry necklace and not in the festive season. Oh, poor Sunny. Don't poor Sunny. She was so funny last night. I mean, I was home most of the day yesterday. I went to the gym. I went for a beach walk. But for the most part, I was home. And we had a sleep in, which is me getting up, feeding her, making a cuppa, going back to bed, lying in bed for about an hour and getting out of bed at, I don't know, 6:30. That's a sleep in for me. I don't go back to sleep. I just chill out with her. She got numerous pats and cuddles throughout the day. And then I think we had the Zoomies 3 times yesterday, hardcore Zoomies too. But she had my attention all day. But they don't remember that the next day when you're like, I'm so sorry, but I got to go to work. You're leaving me. Yes, your favourite toy is leaving you for the day, I'm afraid. You'll need to play with something else. I mean, she will sleep all day on the ottoman that she's on right now, the usual ottoman. It will be warm when I get home. It will be the first time she's got off it, unless she needs to get some water or go to the loo. She will be on that ottoman all day, sleeping. She does the zoomies so well because there's quite a few obstacles around my house that require, leaps and bounces, and she flies across the room. Like sometimes she'll be on the couch and she'll do this jump across the chair that I'm sitting on, and then jump across onto the table and then onto the kitchen bench, and then she does it back again. That's the funniest thing. But she bolts too. My God, she sprints up and down the hallway. I get my exercise just from having her because she loves being chased and then being tagged. And then I sort of, if she often gets on the ottoman, and then I sort of bend over and wrap my arms around her, and I'm like, you can't escape. And she plots an escape, and the next thing she flies off again. She's hilarious. And that tower thing that I bought with the money last year, when this channel used to actually be, I don't know, relatively successful. That from her bank account, from the little donos that I used to get, I bought her that really cool. Oh, it's a gorgeous drive to work, especially I love the causeways. I mean, it's very hard to be miserable when you get to see storks landing on water and seals frolicking and people fishing, and the causeways. Here's the second causeway. They're gorgeous. It's impossible to be grumpy when you get to see this sort of scenery on your daily commute. Yeah, sky's very blue today. But it's cold. It's only 11 degrees Celsius. So, yeah, her little tower, she now jumps up onto the top of it and then does a flying leap across the living room. She'll get in the middle one and then do like a little spin around and come flying out. She's absolutely cray-cray. It's very funny. I want you all to visit too. Hey, on my Smooth Criminal channel, there's been a lot of new people have been watching and commenting on my little video about James Leonard, and there was someone from New York as well, New York City, and I'm like, oh, you'll like our community. I think her name's Spook. But yeah, there's a heap of new people. I mean, not all of them are, overly thrilled with me, but I mean, one guy pointed out how shoddy my production was, and it was. I mean, I literally did that straight after the other live just because I'd mentioned him in it, and it was factual that this guy got arrested in Moscow. I knew it was shonky, but I didn't have time to produce something like my Stop the Madness video. But I didn't get upset. I said, yeah, it was really shifty, and also a lot of info came out after I did it. But kind of went a little bit viral, and it's exciting and freaky at the same time. But for the most part, people have been nice. But, there's constructive criticism when it's handed to you on a silver platter with, peace, love and happiness. Bring it on. But there's some angry people out there. I mean, one woman's basically put all the gossip that's going around the interwebs about Jackass in her comment and told me that I need to look in the rearview mirror and I'm blinded for saying James Leonard did it. And I'm like, which bit of my video did you listen to? Because A, I didn't say he did it at all. I just said a dude was arrested in Moscow and it's factual. B, I also repeat on my channel over and over again, we only care about facts. And all the stuff you've said about Jackass, yeah, I've read it all before. None of it's been verified by anyone with any kind of credibility. So, but it was the way she wrote it. It's like, calm your bum, lady. The time is 7:26 a.m. Oh, look at Scout. Have you got a world clock set up? Scouts. Oh, actually, Scout, you know what we should have done? I forgot about your offer to jump up on a panel with me when I'm driving. We'll do that soon. It's fun in experiment because this channel just, it's kind of, in no man's land now. And I was keen to see if it's still in no man's land. It is. And now Smooth Criminal's growing. I'm going to put more energy and time into that channel because it's such a buzz when you start a channel and it grows and you get to see new people and, you get to meet new people. And then if I go live, hopefully some of them will rock up and you guys will get to meet new people and, all of that's really groovy. You do have a world clock, Liz. Some people are incredulous. Like I said, I love constructive criticism. How do we ever improve as human beings without that? And, take every comment with a grain of salt. Some people have ideas that don't go with the ethos for that channel, which is we only talk about the facts or facts generally. But yeah, the only way we improve as humans is to interact with each other. And yeah, I'm all for constructive criticism. I want to grow, whether it's in my life as a human being, if it's in my job as an employee, if it's on YouTube as a creator. But I'm way more likely to take constructive criticism when it's offered in a respectful fashion. Yeah, it's exciting, Scout. I mean, it's doing what YouTube channels do. This one just, I think, is stuck in a ditch. I think somewhere along the way, things have happened and YouTube's just gone, the AI's just gone, no, you're not doing what we want you to do, which is, it sucks, but I mean, it is a bit of a scatterbrain channel. I've done all sorts of random stuff on here. Maybe the little new batshit channel will grow as well. I think this channel, unfortunately, is just destined to be off the radar. And I had no plans of monetizing Smooth Criminal at all. I still sponsor the 10 Lives Cat Centre where my rescue animals come from. In fact, Sunny also sponsors them. So I'll just keep doing that. But yeah, this channel, I think, is unfortunately stuck in a bit of a no man's land, and I've tried doing so many things to get it out of there. And I watch a lot of YouTubers giving advice on how to get out of the no man's land, but none of it's working. Thank you for dropping the link to my channel that actually grows. I mean, I'm a bit overwhelmed at the amount of people that watched that video about James Leonard Leonard, and I know it was rough. I could do another one when I've got time, but I was, under the pump, man. I've mentioned him in my other live, and I didn't want to go into more detail about him during that live because people would be like, why are you connecting him to the Idaho 4? And I'm like, well, I'm not. I mean, he could be connected to the Idaho 4 just like everyone else that people are talking about on YouTube. But out of respect, I was just covering it separately. I mean, it's certainly worth questioning. Is he connected? He's certainly got a very checkered past, and that in itself is unfortunate. But he was also arrested on domestic violence charges, which is an area that I do a lot of advocacy work in, as you know. So it was of interest to me. I mean, it's something that if it went to trial, I'd follow it for sure. I mean, domestic violence, we call it family violence now in Australia. Here, it's a horrible pandemic of sorts. We've got a very bad report card when it comes to domestic or family violence. There's changes afoot, but it's getting that horrible sort of cultural, it's just boys being boys bullshit out of the psyche of Australia. That's the area that needs the work. Well, the channel is named after that song, so the avatar, it's a set of handcuffs. It's a black circle with white handcuffs and the word smooth criminal. If you're looking for it, I mean, Scouts dropped the link up there, but just use the filter for channel. And actually, there's probably a lot of, well, I don't know. But if you type Smooth Criminal Podcast into the search bar, it does come up. In fact, if you type James Leonard in, it'll come up. It's the first video that's coming up about that guy that got arrested in Moscow, which is a bit freaky for me. Because I keep trying, there's a lot of people keep telling me additional facts and information that have come out since I did that very unprofessional, quick little summary about him. But I haven't been able to find it and verify these things. I mean, I've heard it, I've seen it being written by people that are not qualified to provide that sort of information. Look how the sky's changed now we're in Hobart. It's all grey. Oh, you've subbed. Thanks, Latest Flower. We do good stuff over there, really good stuff. But it's all about facts and victims. They're the only things that matter on that channel. Well, we do have fun with scam baiting, but it's not a speculation channel. It's old-fashioned true crime where people discuss the facts. Lovely Ruth, hello, beautiful. Thank you so much for dropping the link, Scout. You're an absolute legend. But yeah, I won't be monetising Smooth Criminal Podcast because I get very sick of pathetic individuals who, in fact, I've already had pathetic individuals when I've been calling out the sensationalist channels and criticising them for making money. They've basically said, well, you're doing the same thing. And I'm like, how? I'm not monetised. But thanks for your comment, lady. So I sort of feel like it's best just to not monetise it. I mean, I'd love to do a Grey Hughes sort of raise money to sponsor critters. That's something that I'd consider doing. But, yeah, you can't get away from well, you're making money off victims' names. It's like, well, I'm also spending a lot of time researching and producing stuff and giving up chunks of my time to cover things, and I'm responsible. I don't speculate. I discuss facts. Yes, I'm going to call out creators from time to time who are not doing that because it's disgusting. But people get paid for their work in the real world all the time. So yeah, it's conflicting. And then part of me is like, well, if there's an opportunity to move the sponsorship of the Bonarong babies over to Smooth Criminal, then we are going to be putting that money and that monetisation to good use, like we have been doing here for the last couple of years. And I just ignore those people, because if that's the only argument they've got, if they're not actually listening to what I'm saying or what we're discussing or what my panel guests are talking about, then their opinion means nothing. If that's our only takeaway, is that, and I mean, I'm not monetized yet. I've got plenty of time to decide whether or not I will. But I love that we can sponsor little critters, and I think with this channel, as much as I love having members over here, like this channel's gone into like no man's land, and I feel that, even though I can keep doing content for you guys, there's no growth, there's no new people coming into the community. I sort of feel like you're getting a bit of a bum deal, even though I think my highest membership level is like $7, but I still feel that even that, I wish I could give more, but this channel just doesn't make it onto the algorithm. We do speak the facts, and that's not people's takeaways. They don't care. I mean, my Stop the Madness video, which I cried so much when I was making it because it was showing what I've been talking about on my channels for years, which is how social media is just becoming such a dangerous part of the equation of justice. We've got a Chief Justice in Western Australia who has pretty much said that, it's included in that video, that the chances of getting an impartial jury now because of social media are nearly impossible. I mean, that's our justice system hinges on impartial juries, So it's a real thing that's going on. But to get my point across, I sat down and made a list of people I had recalled seeing around the traps who'd made comments about social media and how it impacted them and their families and even the trials. And it was heartbreaking to make it, but it's such an important message. And I had someone under that comment about, you're making money off victims' names. That was her takeaway. And I'm not a monetized channel. And that video took half a day to make. There'd be a lot of people out there that'd be, who cares if Tori makes $2.50 off it? She spent half a day on it. But I couldn't believe, like, after spending half a day on that and how heartbreakingly sad it was to make it, that was her only takeaway, and it wasn't even accurate. Oh, thanks, Scout. Yeah, we're getting a good little list up. I mean, I did mention that I do like Ken. I listen to Ken. I really like him a lot. I haven't had a chance, obviously, to check out the other channel yet, and I'll see the other one. But yeah, it's good for me because to have these sort of channels that we can follow, because sometimes I do get subs asking, what other channels would you recommend? And I'm all down for that. Like, if I'm talking about them on a live or whatever, I'm all down for their links being dropped. I want people that are in my chat who've got channels, I want their links to be dropped. Like, I've got no issue with promoting it because we're trying to find a like-minded community. This isn't a solo journey for me on YouTube. The more people, the more like-minded people we can find out there, the better. Thanks, Lotus. I was really proud of it. But yeah, there's always one, but you're making money off victims' names. Well, YouTube offers money to people who work on YouTube, who put thing. I mean, I've been very critical of channels making money off victims' names when they're going down the foul play road, even though the final reports come out and it was an accident, aka Kylie Rodney. I will talk up about that stuff because it bugs me. I can't stop them doing it. I can't stop their subscribers donating, but I can still say that shits me. And I wonder, do these people go over to the channels that are making obscene amounts of money off victims' names? Do they go and say that to them? No, probably not. No, the message of that video was complete. That was not her takeaway at all. I vote no drama, no screaming. Yeah, me too. People can put quality content on YouTube because there are consumers who want that. Sadly, it seems to be the minority of people on YouTube. Take your time, groovers. Come on, hop to it. God, he's got shorts on. He must be Tasmanian. Once we get to a double figure temperature, the shorts are on 12 degrees Celsius, aka not warm. Yeah, and I think we can be the little ray of sunshine, Lotus Flower. I'm not giving up. I think, if anything, it's more important that we stick around, like, and if we find other like minded channels, there's power in numbers. Look, my old park. I've been parked in this spot for ages. We can be the positive channels community, and there's definitely more of us, starting to stumble across more scouts very good at passing on some channel names. Yeah, I pity their sad asses too. But the more sad asses I sort of stumble across on YouTube, putting my heater on, it's a bit brisk in here. I'll just do some makeup as well. But yeah, the more miserable snots there are out there, the more determined I am to soldier on. And there's also, there's a lot of channels calling out the BS on YouTube, and there's definitely different styles. I tend to get fired up about things that actually happen, like what happened in the courtroom with the Jared Lasek hearing being adjourned because of the YouTubers unmuting. That's the sort of stuff I get fired up about. There's other people that are calling out the speculation channels by doing reactions and being, some of them are doing it. I don't mind doing a reaction, but I'm not going to resort to like lowbrow digs at them and body shaming and all that sort of stuff, critiquing their appearances and stuff. I feel anyone who cams up on YouTube, good on them. All power to them. But you can criticise what they're saying without ripping them to shreds because of how they look. But there's definitely an audience for that sort of channel as well. And there's quite a few people that's the course they're taking, and that's fine too. Like, people could do whatever the hell they want with their channels. That's the beauty of living in countries where we have freedom of speech, and horses for courses. There's something for everyone. But when I see like things that are actually interfering with the course of justice, you bet I'm going to speak up about it. Yeah, it seems to be a bit of a movement, and some reputable channels too now. Like, it's not just people that are taking the piss out of the other person. It's people who are actually looking beyond that and talking about what actually matters, which is the facts. Cluster B personalities. What is that? What does that term mean? I'm not good with psych terminology. Clusterfucks is the term I use for them, but cluster B, what are they? How do you define that? I've heard that expression, and I've probably asked before for someone to explain what it means, and I've forgotten, possibly. But yeah, we might be getting a bit busy over on Smooth Criminal Scout, but isn't that fun? And I'm loving all these new people. I'm hoping that people that are commenting do come back, and get involved in the scam baiting as well. Like, don't just, wouldn't that be great? I haven't heard back from the soft Francis. I noticed this morning. I checked Telegram and he's disappeared. I'm sure if I message him on the weekend, we'll reignite communication. But yeah, he's gone quiet. But it was obvious the other night he had other people on the hook as well. So, but I do have the soft mic in the background if I want. There's a lot of scammers around at the moment, so there's no shortage of people to scam bait. But, ideally I'd like to scam bait them until I get information that I can pass on to the ACCC at Scam Watch. Just put my powder on and then I'll check the chat again. Pretty sure I've got a full calendar right up until we go to lunch this morning. Oh, my earring just fell out. I can't see where it landed. Found it. We just put that back on. Got plenty of time for a chat, Groovers, so all right, that's on. I'll just have to finish my powder. Give me 2 secs. But yeah, I'm a bit excited about the new folks that are finding us. And I do hope they come back. But I also know how fickle YouTube is, like I'm going to talk about Brittany Higgins, a trial in Australia that has been abandoned basically because of numerous factors. But essentially the accused, there's no way he's going to get an impartial jury, but also the prosecution have made a decision to abandon the trial because of her mental health, which is really interesting. And then she's now pursuing a civil suit, and it's really interesting, but it won't appeal to a lot of people. I know that, but I'm fine with that. It's right on topic with what I'm passionate about, as far as the way social media is messing with the legal process. Oh, okay. Antisocial, narcs, borderline, histrionic. Thank you. APD, NPD, BPD, HPD, all the PDs. Dramatic, overly emotional, unpredictable thinking or behaviour. You okay, Ruth? Yeah, you taking good care of yourself, sweetie? Waiting for tests and scans. Oh, well, I'm sending out positive vibes. They all come back positive. Like, good news, not you've tested positive for something bad. There's an article that I read a few years ago about YouTube and is everyone on YouTube a narcissist? No, sociopath, I think it was. It's an interesting read. If you go onto Google and just punch in, is everyone on YouTube a sociopath or a narcissist or whatever, it'll come up. I mean, everyone has a bit of narcissism in them, but we certainly do see it to the extreme like to the point of being a personality disorder. And there's grumpy people the world over now. Like, even though, I do get some snarky comments, I'm not surprised because, that's just the way social media has made people that respectful, let's have an intelligent conversation about this, doesn't really seem to be the go-to for many people. These days, it's straight in arguing and yelling and screaming like a banshee. But to be honest, I mean, look at how Joman was when he first came into my chat, and I was like, you didn't even say hello. That's a bit rude. And he's now in the chat all the time and a really good contributor to this channel or to my other channels. Well, this one too. Like, not being reactive and responding to them the way they've attacked me. You can sometimes, not Joman, but some of these other ones, if we bring them around and they become a really good value, loved member in the community, it's a nice feeling. Sometimes, though, they're just going to be grumps. You just have to go, okay, well, have you done poo today? Or are you always an asshole? I don't put a lot of people say, oh, you just have to ignore all the negative comments. It's like, well, actually, I don't want to because everyone's got a point of view. And if they're a little work in progress for me and I can get them to come around, that's a nice feeling. Or at least just get them to rethink how they speak to people online. It's worth it. Oh, it's narcissism. Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, it's spot on. It's mascara time, everybody. Yeah, like the guy who pointed out how, shoddy that video was. Yeah, it was under the pump, was trying to get the information out there. And that's the thing, like, if there's this constant mental sort of debate going on with YouTube. It's like, do I want to get that information out there really quickly because this is quite interesting and could be important? Or do I spend a day editing this slick thing up and put it out, and then half the information, the information that I know at the time is there's now more and I wasn't able to add that, and then I'm going to get criticised for not putting the more recent info. Like, it's tricky. Never going to please everyone. And it's sort of annoying too that the most sort of critical are the super nasty ones. They don't do anything on their channels. They've got no idea what it's like to throw a quick little video together or go live for a couple of hours chatting to people. They don't have a clue. They're quite happy to sit there bitching about everybody. They're like people who refuse to vote in elections and then complain about politicians. It's like, well, you had a chance to vote. And we kind of cancel out your opportunity to be so critical if you threw your vote. But also, if these politicians are so shitty, why don't you run for parliament? You clearly think you can do a better job because you've got a lot of opinions about the job they're doing. Put your hand up to have a crack. Let's see how you go. Let's see how you go. So those sorts of people, their opinions are very easy to discount because I just kind of go, well, cement shoes, how are yous? But I do like responding in a polite fashion because I sort of feel, well, I can be the nicer person at least. They're not going to get crazy amounts of my time and energy, but I'm prepared to put a little bit in. I need something for my lips, some sort of colour. Actually, this will do. I've got a tinted lip balm that I'm totally into right now. A little pop of colour whilst moisturising my lips. Oh, I just want to grab my. Oh, I've got it. So, what are you guys all up to this evening or day or wherever you are? Still loving my hair. Although a few people were commenting about the colour, but it's actually my greys are still visible. I'm gradually letting. The greys are not covered up, but it must have looked kind of um like fully coloured, but it's not. It was a semi-permanent stain. It's not even like a colour. It just tones down the greys a little bit, like the ones that are really coarse and angry. So they just blended in a little bit because I had a few spots that looked like skunk stripes. But yeah, it's still my hair, but it probably looks a little bit darker. But once I've washed it, you'll be able to see that it's not actually that different. It's just been trimmed and stained, semi-permanent stain. The Stains of YouTube. That would be a great clip channel name. If suddenly there's a clip channel called The Stains of YouTube, it's not me, I promise. You're into glitter. Yeah, I've got some glitter lip gloss. Like it's not really glitter, but it's sparkly, but it's sort of subtle, pale pinky sort of colour, which I used to wear a lot. I haven't worn it for ages. It's actually too sticky for me now. This new one, which is like a lip balm, but it's got a tint in it. You're at a B-class Zoom at the moment. The Stains of YouTube. I know, but um, I don't want to hide the greys though. That's why there's no permanent colour. We've stopped that. We just put in um, a very diluted semi-permanent stain are the words my hairdresser used, rather than a colour. So it just toned some of um, the long greys. My hair's growing where the greys are. They're growing in stripes, and I look like a little skunk. And I don't like having two-tone coloured hair. So yeah, it was just to tone them down a bit, but it was not to cover them up. I'm embracing them. I'm a fan. The stains of YouTube. YouTube skid marks, also perfect. Exactly, Ruth. You can buy many avocados. The YouTube bacon strips. The turds of YouTube. There's a lot of them, that's for sure. Good God, there's a lot of them. And many of them are in the chats and comments. Sometimes the creators are actually doing okay, but they're attracting wonkarama people. The bacon strips. I've just had an absolute mental blank. Rinds. The bacon rinds. But this, I might, next time I do a drive, I'm tempted to do a smooth criminal one. You could fertilise a lot of the world with all that shite. You could, sure could. It's always been an issue for me too. Like, I get it. If people are making a living on YouTube, I can see why they don't put their energy and time and resources into other things. But I often wonder if all these channels that are just sensationalistic and disrespectful of victims and ignore the facts and so on. I often think, imagine what a different world we'd live in if they all even just volunteered each 1 hour a week, and just pitched in and helped their local community. I have two dogs very excited after bacon, bacon, bacon. And I don't blame them. I mean, I'm allergic to pork, uncured pork, so I can eat bacon, and bacon is life. I'm having a chicken pie for lunch. I'm excited about that. We had to pre-order our meals. I do like a chicken pie. Too many channels never do research. No. And that's the thing, like, I mean, I had a lot of information on that James Leonard guy that I didn't want to include in that little video. I just wanted to show the basic info because it's relevant and it's factual. But other shows that I do, I put hours of research in, and that's the other thing, you get criticised because you missed a detail that may have come out while you're actually doing the live. And it's like, well, I've already researched this topic and I'm giving what I've got so far. You know, unless you've got 50,000 people messaging you with updates while you're live, you didn't do your research, you missed this point. It's like, well, actually, I did. I did 3 hours of research before I went live for 2 hours, and that fact came out while I was live, and I'm sorry I missed it. Again, so critical, and it's like, you do it. You do a live on a topic, and let us all criticise or, you know, critique your researching skills. Bacon, yummy bacon. Bacon. I'll show you my cherry necklace. It's important to finish the sentence. Isn't it cute? But apparently, it should only be worn at Christmas time. Don't you be wearing cherries if it isn't December. So yeah, that's my cherry necklace that one of my exes gave me. One of my exes that gave me the most beautiful. I haven't had many exes that bought me jewelry, which is fine because I don't wear a lot. But one of my exes gave me the most beautiful jewelry, and I still wear all of it. He went to Paris while we were together with his kids and brought me back all this Parisian stuff, and the jewelry was just amazing, stunning. So cheers for that, Groover. Because being given jewelry is a bit of a thing, you know, like if they don't sort of take into account your personal tastes and stuff and they give you something you don't like, you're kind of stuck going, oh, thank you. But he had impeccable taste. And I do appreciate it because I wear a lot of what he gave me to this day and always will. Shame he was a complete arsehole, but he did give the good jewels. Hey, is Jamin here? Hey, Groover, we mentioned you before. And like Beetlejuice, you've rolled on in. What are we talking about? Mark, oh, he got 25 to life. That's such a horrible case. Good riddance to him. What a piece of shit he was. And the manner in which that little boy died. And it's incredible the other one didn't as well. I agree, he should have been electrocuted slowly. And I'm not for the death penalty, but sometimes I just think, well, he is evil. Oh, it was just disgusting. And yeah, it was a miracle, really, that other little boy. Oh, you've been hit by, you've been struck by a smooth criminal. Diddling ding, diddling ding, diddling ding, ding. Get off my channel. Pretty trolling. I was going to say if I could do something. Here we go. Hi. Oh, no. Oh, shit. Oh, no. I've turned my phone off. Hang on. Hang on. Oh, what's going on? Let me unlock it. I'm going to do it sideways. Oh, my goodness. No, what are you loading? Don't load. Where's my screen gone? There we go. No. Shit. God almighty. I'm not doing that again. Far out, Grooves. What's that? I'm just cleaning my dashboard. You look cute. Nice ring. On this ring? Thanks. It's a poil. It's like a little engagement ring and gold band on a ring. It's a fidget spinner. Like it's an anti-anxiety. Well, not, it's for anxiety. Like you can spin it around. Yeah, it all happened just then. I just wanted to flick my camera around, but it's such an effort. I'm not doing that again. Yeah, pearls are cute. And they're, out of the ocean. They're not blood diamonds. I look lovely for work. Very class. Well, thank you. Yeah, and silver too. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very precious ring to me. And it's I've actually got my mum's rings and the ring my dad gave my mum when I was born, and then a ring that my grandmother had. And I'm going to get them all put on a similar setting like this. Because I do wear them from time to time, and I was like, yeah, I actually want to get a base like this one has, and then get them extended a little bit so that they can spin around too, because they're gorgeous. But yeah, but no, it's a cute one. It's a cute ring. It's got nice. And if someone's being a bit of a snarky pants with me, I automatically go to it and start turning it around, and it makes me calm down. Not that I get overly fired up, but I'm actually quite I'm wearing a little pinafore. Like it's not very it's not corporate. I don't do corporate. I don't do suits. It's one of the best things about getting out of corporate law was no more suits, no more bloody stilettos or heels with shoes. Heels with shoes. Shoes with heels. I do have boots on, yes. I've got so the pinafore is short, like it's above my knees, and then I've got um black tights on, and then I've got little black top, and then I've got I'm actually wearing my tan boots. You had shoes, yeah, you just like having a heel sticking out of the bottom of your foot. Jumpers, yeah. We do call sweaters jumpers. Who is that man? Oh, we're talking about Michael Volva. An awful case. Let me go back up and I'll put the summary of what's just happened. Here we go. So, yeah, he was a New York cop and he had two little boys and he put them in a garage, basically. He kept them out in this garage and one of them died, Thomas. And he was just an absolute piece of shit guy. Anyway, 25 years to life for the death of his son, and good riddance to bad rubbish. Yeah, it was horrible, Mum. It's really horrible. Horrible. Um, as some of you know too, Chris Dawson was sentenced. He got 25 years. He's 74 and already exhibiting signs of dementia and other illnesses. So he will never see the light of day outside a prison cell again, which is great. We also, at some point, again on Smooth Criminal, we need to have a look at what's happening with Depp and Heard because that's all firing up again with appeals being lodged. I do want to do Brittany Higgins because it's a matter that's happened, a case that's been happening in Australia, and there's so many players in it and twists and turns, including the impact of not just social media but also media on a trial. It's now been abandoned by prosecution, partly because they're concerned about her mental health. If the trial proceeded in February, it's already been abandoned once. It was heard earlier, not this month, but in November, and the jury were hung. So it got, and then the jury were also had to be dismissed because a court staff member picked up a folder that a juror had dropped, and they had an article in there about sexual assaults and rape. So the whole trial fell over and it got relisted for February. And I think they're the only ones that are, and obviously keeping an eye on any new information with the Idaho 4 as well. I think he's going to have a terrible time, and thank God for that. Yeah, isn't it vile? I just can't stand it. Family annihilators, which he's not, but he could have been. They're criminals that I've always followed their stories because they're just such random units. But nearly always the motive is to get back at the ex, and it's just like you seriously could have just left the wife and let her get on with her life and let you get on with. There's so many women out there that are now, without their children because of what their husbands did to the children. There's also husbands without children because of what their wives did. But yeah, it's a really specific and weird type of crime too, because more often than not, the family annihilator has absolutely no criminal history. I mean, look at Chris Watts, for example. These things just come out of the blue. It's a really horrific thing. There's a murder that happened in Tassie. 4 girls, the Shoebridges, were murdered by their dads for the same reason. And yeah, it's impossible to explain what goes through their minds that they think that is the way to do it, like without any regard for their babies and the babies they've brought into the world together. Like, it's just so vile, so vile. But yeah, hopefully he does have a rough go of it, Cement Shoes. He doesn't deserve anything else. Yeah, the family annihilators are scary. Oh, hi, Humanimal. Oh, no, I'm not going into Brittany right now in detail, but no, I've already done a live about her going on tour. And yeah, I'm kind of in the same position as you, but also if she is a victim, then it's fucked as well. No, I've done lives before about her going on tour with Grace Tame before she had any reason to. I've been very critical of that, very. And I got a lot of flack on my channel as well for covering it because there were a lot of anti-Grace Tame people on YouTube I discovered, and they really pushed for me to go down that road as well and research and investigate the Grace Tame stuff and call it out. But I can't. I've got a conflict. I'm very closely connected to two of Nicholas Bester's victims who was convicted of crimes against Grace Tame. I can't I'm not allowed to do it. And I wouldn't anyway. Because anything that remotely makes Nicholas Bester look less liable, I'm not going to do that when I have a connection to two of his other victims. But no, I'm not covering Brittany right now. I'm just mentioning cases that are coming up. I'm about to go to work. This ain't a true crime live. But no, I'm very critical of her being taken on that junket tour around the country. That essentially was the moment that he was not going to get a fair trial. And then there's the Lisa Wilkinson stuff that was ridiculous, where she essentially also had him already convicted before the fact. Then there's the jury absolutely misbehaving and that whole trial falling over. Also, I still haven't managed to find another case where the prosecution have decided to not proceed with the trial based on an alleged victim's mental health. But she's also now instructed lawyers to sue in a civil court. So it's a pretty full-on story. But yeah, no, I'm not doing a summary of it today. I'm just mentioning what things I've got coming up on my other channel. It's an absolute nightmare, the whole thing. And look, if he's innocent, he deserved a fair trial and was essentially tried and convicted before it even got into the courts, as you know. And, you know, we are pro-victims on Smooth Criminal, and if he's innocent, that's possibly the worst thing that can happen to an innocent person, even before a trial's been heard. Like, it was insanity. And then if she's the victim, she shouldn't have been wheeled out on that junket with Grace. And her chances of getting justice now out the window. I mean, either way, it doesn't matter whose side people are on in that story. Either way, a victim is potentially never going to see justice. So it's a mess, an absolute mess. Whether or not it appeals to the masses out there on YouTube, I don't care. It's such a schmozzle. But yeah, I had a lot of people contacting me and messaging me and leaving comments under videos, and they were really nasty too. Because I said I couldn't go down the anti-Grace Tame road. I don't care about the Grace Tame component. I care about the victims that I know of that man, and I'm not going to do anything that potentially lessens the severity of what he's done. And I kept saying to them, I have a conflict. Like, as a lawyer, if you've got a conflict, you can't speak on something, but they wouldn't have a bar of it. In fact, one of them said, no wonder your channel's so small. And I was like, I'd like it to be small. I'm all for having quality over quantity any day. Bring it on. Thanks for your little personal dig. And why don't you understand what a conflict is and why I can't do that? But again, so many grumpy assholes on the YouTube world. You know, there's just, oh, look at your little thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up, Groovers. Let me see if I can do this again without, I'm curious, without booting myself and freezing things and live experimenting. I'm a risk taker. It worked, but can I get back in there without? Hey, look at that. Yeah, so Humanimal, that'd be a really good one for us to discuss because to me, the junker was the first thing. Alarm bells went off for me. I'm like, what are they doing? You can't put somebody who's got a trial coming up next to, at the time, Australian of the Year, who spoke up when she was finally allowed to because they changed legislation in Tasmania about the man who groomed her and abused her as a schoolgirl. And essentially that's why she became Australian of the Year, because of the speaking up about it and her advocacy. And then they've got another girl standing next to her who the trial hasn't even happened yet, standing next to her, and the public are like, all about, because Grace's speeches are very empowering and they fire everybody up. And then you've got all these people sort of screaming and, pitchforks in the air to go after this guy who allegedly raped Brittany Higgins, but he hasn't even been to court yet. Like, how on earth was he going to get a fair trial? He was this alleged victim was on the news for weeks on end and was being pushed by the media as another poster child for survivors of sexual assault when he hadn't even had his trial yet. It was absolutely mind-boggling. And then it just spiraled and was snowballed and just got worser and worser and worser. And then you've got a mainstream media idiot who gives a speech about her interview with Brittany and referring to her as a victim. And again, the trial hadn't even happened yet. It's an absolute nightmare. And then it finally does get to court. And it ends up with a hung jury. But then in addition to that, the jurors have been doing external research and that was stupid enough to drop a folder of documents that included the research they'd been doing. So then the whole trial fell apart. Are you going to do live streaming? I'll be there with bells on. So yeah, Humanimal, I'll try to, I don't know how to message you, but I suppose I could leave a message on I'll tag you in something so that you know when it's coming up. Because it has to be one of the biggest bores ups of all time in Australian law. And the problem too, for those of you that don't know who I'm ranting about, they were both political staffers. They worked for, you're in the shower, Humanimal. Just giving everyone a visual, darling. Better than people visualising you in the shower than me. But yeah, I'd really love to. It made a laughing stock of Australia, but also there's there's so many twists and turns in this story, but it happened in the halls of power in Parliament House with political staffers, and he had a much more senior position. And then there's all the Hillsong stuff as well. I think everyone in Parliament House just wanted it swept under the rug. It's an absolute diabolical mess. But I also found it interesting, the cynic in me, I must admit, that the prosecution decides to pull the pin on it, which again, I haven't found any other cases yet where that's happened. I'm not saying it hasn't, I just haven't been able to find any, but they pull the pin on it. And within 24 hours, it's announced she's pursuing a civil action against him, which it's sort of like, well, the prosecution pulled the pin because of how it could impact your mental health. And even though civil is a very different process, it's still going to be emotionally taxing. Hey, Green Eyes. I have plenty of patience, Joman. I watch your plants grow. Total dissing of the justice system. And yeah, we'll be calling it out because, yeah, the whole thing, I agree with you, Him Animal. It was just the most ridiculous mess. Well, you're not alone there either, Him Animal, but I can't, unfortunately, express my opinions because in doing so, I feel I'll be minimising the severity of Nicholas Bester, and because of my connection to two of his other victims, I don't want to give him any room to look less revolting than he already is. So, and I imagine if he'd cammed up, if he were live, imagine if he'd done a makeup mobster, Him Animal. If you'd accidentally hit the go live button and the way your phone was positioned, everyone got to see you in the shower. But yeah, I'm between a rock and a hard place with Grace because as much as I would like to comment on issues I have with her, any of that will seem to if it seems to diminish even by a millimetre the severity of Nicholas Bester's cruelty and repugnance. I can't do it. I won't do it because, yeah. The other thing too, though, Him Animal, is even if we wanted to, right? And there's a community on YouTube that are very anti-Grace and wanted to recruit me to pick up my pitchfork and join them. But I need to go shortly too. But even if we did, what's the point? I mean, I'm anti-tokenism. I'm not a fan of, the Australian of the Year shit. It's not going to have, if I spoke up about it, it's not going to change anything. Her little badge of honour is not going to be taken off her. So what's the point, And also there's very passionate Grace Tame supporters. I don't want to attract them either. Nicholas Bester was convicted of numerous accounts. Essentially, he groomed and repeatedly sexually abused a student when he was a teacher at a private school in Hobart, where I live. And he has continued to mock his victim while he's been in prison, and now he's out as well. He's an absolute piece of shit. We had legislation here. I'm going to do this really quickly because I've got to go to work. We had legislation here that prevented victims from speaking up about their attackers when they had been convicted, and the legislation changed, and Grace, who was his victim, was finally able to speak up publicly about it, and she turned into this force of nature, I guess, and became sort of the spokesperson for victims' rights in a nutshell. But then went on to have a very contentious year as Australian of the Year. And yeah, it's a very convoluted story, but essentially I have a very close connection to two of his other victims, and I will never, ever speak about him outside the facts of his conviction. And certainly I can't really speak up about personal opinions about Grace either, because anything that minimises the severity of what he did to the people that I'm connected to, I don't want to be seen to be doing that. So, yeah. But in terms of the connection with Brittany Higgins, I will talk about her. But I've got to go, funky people, and I hope you all have a really... Oh, look at you getting all technological. Interested to hear about that too. But yeah, so have a great night, day, wherever you are. Thanks for hanging out with me, Groovers, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye for now.